There's a couple ways I could go. I could just pretend like I just think everything that ayahuasca is just plant medicine and, take that route, which is the route that most people would take for this kind of thing. But I'm just going to be transparent and open about, everything. So, the fact is, we're all told that drugs are bad. Well, drugs are just like everything else in this world. They're not good or bad. They're something that we can either use for good or use for bad. Look how many people are saved by medication all over the world, right? I mean, we're told drugs are bad, yet we're the most medicated society I believe's ever existed. It's not like I know anything about that, but I have to assume. My experience with hallucinogens has been that whenever you bring a ceremony to them, it's an amazing experience. And if you don't bring a ceremony to them, you can still have a great time, but it's a little risky, and sometimes you have a horrible time. Well, I just went into the jungle and got to try ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is a plant medicine that shamans have been making in the Amazon jungle for forever. I mean, they don't know how long. I don't think anyone knows how long exactly they've been making it. I mean, however they came about it, it was miraculous in the first place. But I'll skip the history lesson and go straight into my experience. It was pretty crazy. We did it part of this trip, and we went whitewater rafting and did all this other stuff. And it was a beautiful day. And just as we're about to leave to go visit the shaman, thunder and lightning start cracking, the sky opens up and just starts pouring, downpour. And so we're hiking through the jungle to get to the shaman's campsite, and really it was more like a compound. He had a nice little setup for himself. And when we got there, he greeted us with this anaconda around his neck and all these feathers and this whole little get-up. Yet at the same time, he was just in jeans and a polo shirt. So it's kind of like this weird mix between Western and whatever you call it, like indigenous culture. But, that's what you get when you get just the type of ayahuasca trip we were going for. I actually set it up through like a tourist agency. So my expectations were pretty low for this kind of deal. But he still went through this whole ceremony which I'll post a lot of videos below, where he like chugged this alcohol and then spit it on us and like rubbed us with rocks and beat us with reeds while he's spitting this alcohol on us, and we all had to have our shirts off. I mean, you'll see the videos down below. It was pretty crazy, pretty intense. And at the end, before we drank the jungle juice, we had to put this alcohol on our face and breathe it in, we breathe it in, and it was like, it was like, I gained so much respect for that shaman, because that alcohol was just like intense. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it had to be like 180 proof at least. It was nuts. And so then he pours the ayahuasca out, and he pours it out of like this Clorox bleach bottle is what it looked like. And Eddie plugs his nose while he's drinking this stuff, and it was just, this stuff tasted like vomit. It was nasty. And of course the shaman only spoke Spanish, so in our broken Spanish we explained to the guy that, hey, we have a fair amount of experience with this type of thing, so could you please give us a little bit more? And so he finished off the bottle on us, and the second Eddie took his second drink, he went straight to the balcony and started throwing up everything. And while he's throwing up, OJ's drinking, and then I drink it. And then we got to chill and talk to the shaman for a while, and he told us all these things that we couldn't do. We couldn't have sex for 3 days, we couldn't drink for 3 days, we couldn't shower for 3 days, we couldn't give physical greetings for 3 days, like high fives or handshakes. He said a couple other things. We couldn't eat pig. All of it was kind of weird. Even the rituals were kind of weird. Like, from my research on ayahuasca, everybody's ritual is different. And, what really matters is that you bring some sort of ceremony to it, and you follow through with these rules or whatever, because it just... I don't know. There's something about bringing a ceremony to these types of experience that always seems to work out for me. So we drank the juice, and we were led to this little place where we weren't supposed to sleep, but we ended up sleeping anyway, and just to kind of chill out. And within an hour, we were all definitely having the experience. Within an hour and a half, OJ and I were puking. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. A lot of people said that you're supposed to crap yourself, and like it's just this total body cleanse, and like everything is just nuts, right? So, OJ and Eddie puked out all the ayahuasca they could, and they had their experience for full on for about 2 hours. I was tripping for like probably 5 because I didn't puke all of it up. I puked as little of it up as I could, and then for that entire 5-hour period, I was chewing it back. I mean, it was like a whole body. I mean, it took all my effort not to throw up this stuff because it was not supposed to be in your body. It was definitely pretty crazy. And so, let's see. So I did, Eddie and OJ got a lot, even though their trip was shorter, they got a lot more out of it than I did. I got really just some ego padding and maybe like a couple confirmations and a couple crazy ideas. Like for a long time I laughed about how funny languages are and how important we think words are, even though they're just like us making grunts and gurgles, with our breath. We're just exhaling and making noises, and all of a sudden we think that's so important, when really it's not important at all. It's just grounding us in this physical reality. And I was laughing about that forever and ever, and like how we all have different languages and we think that's so important. And I don't know. That was one thing. And another big theme in my trip was how important trees are for humans. I don't know why this kept coming up. I had an amazing experience in the redwoods several months ago, just with the trees, and I really did feel like they had some kind of spirits, and maybe that's what brought up this kind of like love for trees. But I was thinking about mango trees, I was thinking about palm trees, and I was thinking about trees in the forest, and how we humans just need trees and love trees and how great they are. I didn't really think about how we're killing the rainforest or any of that. That wasn't really part of it. It was really, or like how we need to save trees. It was really just that I should have some trees. It was a selfish, like my own reality kind of thing. I also, the third big theme was like just a big ego pad, like, oh man, I'm so awesome, oh man, I'm so lucky, I don't have to worry about feeding myself or anything. I got everything on lockdown. I'm traveling the world, I'm just really a lucky guy, and I have an amazing power to control my body and I have great willpower and all these other like self-realizations that I kind of have figured out already. I really didn't get anything new out of the experience, so I was kind of disappointed. It was really just like a normal DMT trip, which like there's this weird noise, like almost a background, like a ringing in your ears that DMT gives you. I got the same thing from the ayahuasca, and these geometric shapes were really, I'd close my eyes and I could see geometric shapes kind of doing their thing. But I actually didn't hallucinate that bad. It was mostly just shapes, and there was a little bit of movement, but nothing crazy. Most of the time, I would, as I was going somewhere, I'd like all of a sudden need to puke, and so like I'd have to focus on chewing that back. It was pretty nasty. It was a pretty sick thing. I was cold a lot of the time too. That was kind of a problem. If I did it again, when I do it again, I'm going to Peru to do it again, and I'm going to bring like earplugs and a face mask, like one of those eye mask things, to kind of give myself a sensory deprivation experience, because I kept coming back to this reality, and the real goal is to go enter into that spirit world, which I had a problem getting to when I was when I smoked DMT a couple times, and I also didn't get there with ayahuasca, so I really want to try that.